Okay, this is Unit 1, Section 5 homework. This is the back page 27 to 34. Okay, so it gets a little complicated on the back. That's okay. Got to have a challenge, right? So if I look at 27, notice I have 3 x's, okay? So I don't have a number to move anywhere, but I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. So since these x's are on the same side of my inequality, right, I will just put them together. Okay, so this one gets carried down. I did not change it. The inequality sign just drops down. And I have negative 7 minus 8, negative 15x. Okay, now, because I have x on both sides of my equation, I need to get them on the same side together. Okay, I always move the smallest x, or smallest variable, which is negative 15. So to move it, I'm going to add 15. Okay, so I have 15x minus 4x gives me 11x. My sign did not change. And then notice I have nothing over here. I have no number over here. So if everything gets moved and there's nothing left, I actually just have 0. So don't think it's like a no solution kind of thing or something like that. Because 15 minus 15 is 0. And I don't have another number, so it's just 0. Now my last step, because I still want x, I need to divide, which in this case doesn't really change much. So I have x, my inequality doesn't change, and 0 divided by 11 is 0. Okay? Now I can graph it. So I'm going to put 0 somewhere, doesn't matter where. And then my symbol is underlined, so I have a closed circle, and less than goes left. And that's my answer. Okay, 28. On this one, I'm going to combine like terms just like I did on 27, except this time my like terms are numbers. So I have those two numbers on the left, and I have these two numbers on the right. Okay, now remember, there's like this imaginary line, wall, however you want to think of it right here. So I can only combine on the left and on the right. I can't combine them all together, but we'll move them later. So I have negative 16 minus 2 gives me negative 18. My x didn't change, so I have that. My inequality is still here. Now on the right, I do 4 minus 1 gives me 3. My x didn't change, so I just bring that down. Okay. Now this is kind of starting to look like stuff we did on the last page. So from here, I have an x on both sides, so I want to move all my x's to the same side. So it's just like equations. And I have a positive 1x and a negative 3. Because I always move the smallest variable, I'm going to do plus 3x to both sides. So this drops down, this drops down, this drops down. I didn't change those. So I have negative 18. 3 plus 1 is 4x. Don't forget the x. My inequality doesn't change. And my 3 is right here, and that's gone. Okay? See, now we're starting to look like the front page. So here's my only x, so I have to move my number, and then I divide. I'm sorry, that's the second page. So my number is negative 18, so I will do plus 18. My x, my inequality, didn't change. 13 plus 8 is, what, 21? And my last step, of course, is divide. Okay, so I'm going to go over here because I have more room. So x, I did not divide by a negative, so my inequality stays the same. And then 21 over 4 is a decimal. You can put 5.25, yeah, if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead, I think it's 5, I don't know. whatever it is, I'm going to leave it as a fraction because fractions are easier. I don't have to worry about dividing. And so now I can take this fraction, I can put it anywhere I want. So I'm going to put it over here. My inequality is not underlined, so I have an open circle. And greater than goes to the right. And that is 28. All right, 29, we're almost there. I mean, we got 34, but we're getting there. Okay, 29. So this one kind of looks like part of what we just did. I have a k on both sides, I have a number on both sides. So I need to get both k's together on the same side. So between negative 8k and negative 6k, the negative 8 is smaller. So I'm going to add 8k to move it. So what did I not change? My 4, my sign, and my negative 10. So I can just bring all that down. And then I do 8, positive 8 minus 6 gives me 2k. Okay, now to move my numbers away from k, I have minus 10. I need to do plus 10 first. So I do 10 plus 4, 14. My sign didn't change, and my 2k didn't change. Okay, now my last step is divide. So 14 divided by 2, I get 7 less than or equal to, greater than or equal to k. And because k is on the right, I can pretend there's a mirror. Alright, sorry about the beeps. Okay, so k is on the right, so I do a mirror right k. I change the sign and put 7. So k is less than or equal to 7. So I can put my 7 wherever I want to. My inequality is underlined, right? So it's a closed circle. And less than is left. And that is 29. Okay, 30. Okay, so this is like 27, right? I have two x's on the same side. So I would need to combine like terms. So I have 3 minus 6 gives me negative 3x. My sign, my number, and this x did not change. I bring all that down. Okay. Now I want my x's on the same side, right? So negative 5, I'm going to move it over here. That way they're together. So I'm going to do plus 5x. So I have 5 minus 3 is 2x. My sign, my 6 doesn't change. And then my last step, if you said it, you're right, is divide, right? So I get x. I didn't divide by a negative, so it stays the same. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so I put a 3 wherever I want to. My inequality is not underlined, so it's an open circle. And less than is left. That's 30. Look at that, we're almost done. 31. Now, this one, I have parentheses. Okay, so these last four I have parentheses. So anytime you have parentheses, remember you have to distribute or multiply first. That way the parentheses go away. So I'm going to do that first. So that means my number, my variable, my inequality, all of these will stay the same. I can't change these yet. And then I do negative 6 times 1 minus 6. Negative 6 times 3x minus 18x. Okay? Now, I have x's on both sides. I need to move them to the same side. So negative 8 and negative 18. This negative 18 is definitely smaller, so I'm going to move that one. Okay. And just to save time and space, if my x's went to the left, my number, this number over here, will go to the right. All right, so I have 18x minus 8x gives me 10x. My symbol inequality didn't change. Then I have 36 minus 6 is 30. And everything else we crossed off because we moved it. And then my last step is divide. All right, so I get x greater than 30 divided by 10 is 3. Okay. Remember, I don't flip it because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative number. So for my answer, I can just put 3 wherever I want. My inequality is not underlined. Open circle, and then greater than goes to the right. And I'm done with that one. All right, 32. Okay, if this color does not show up, this is yellow, I will definitely change right away. So I have parentheses I have to get rid of. So I have to, oh, that does show up fine. Okay, so I have to multiply and distribute that to get rid of the parentheses. So that means all of this just gets brought down. I'm not changing that yet. Okay, I can't do anything. So then I do negative 2 times n is negative 2n. Negative 2 times 3 minus 6. Okay, now I want to get my n's on the same side. So because negative 7 is smaller, I'm going to do plus 7n. And since my n's move to the right side, my number, the 6, needs to move to the left. Okay, so I have 9 plus 6 gives me 15. This sign did not change. And 7 minus 2n is 5n. And some of y'all might see that and go, oh, I know the answer. Sweet. So remember, you divide once you get to here. And I get 3 greater than n. But n is on the right, so I'm going to go ahead and pretend there's a mirror. Flip it, right? So I have n is less than 3. Okay, so I put a 3. My inequality is not underlined, so it's open circle. And less than goes left. All right, 2 more. Okay, parentheses. Again, I have to distribute and get rid of those. I don't want those there. I can't do anything with it. Okay, so I do negative 3 times 7x, negative 21x. Negative 3 times negative 5. 2 negatives make a positive, get 15. This didn't change. None of that changes yet. So I just carry it all down, okay? Now, my x's, I need to get to the same side. I have negative 5 and negative 21. This one is smaller, so I'm going to move the negative 21 to the other side. So if my x went to the right, my 31 has to go left. So that gives me 31 minus, or no, I'm sorry, 15 minus 31. I get negative 16. Don't forget your inequality sign. And then 21 minus 5, is 16. Look at that. Last step, divide. So I have negative 16 divided by 16. I get, I'm going to do it down here, negative 1. My inequality is right here, and then I just have x. But because x is on the right, pretend there's a mirror. Okay. And so then I can put negative 1 wherever I want to. My inequality on this one is underlined, so now I have a closed circle. And greater than goes to the right. And that's my answer. And last question. Look, parentheses, I have to distribute. So remember, even though I have a number here and a number here, I have to multiply this one because it's right next to the parentheses before I can add or subtract anything else, okay? So you always have to multiply the parentheses first before you can do anything else to it. So the negative 4 gets dropped down. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 5x, negative 5x. And then everything else Right, gets moved down. Can't do anything yet. Okay. So now I can combine like terms because here's my inequality sign. On my left side, I have two numbers. So I can do -4 minus 1, -5. And nothing else changes because nothing else changes. I can't combine anything else yet. So now I need to move my x's to the same side. Between my two x's, the -6 is lower or smaller, so I'm going to move that one by doing +6. And because my x went left, my number goes right. Okay? So I have 6, +6 minus 5 gives me 1x. My inequality gets brought down. And then 5 minus 5 is simply 0. I can't divide by 1, because even if you did, you just get x greater than 0. Same thing. So I can put my 0 down here. My inequality is not underlined, so it's an open circle. And greater than goes to the right. And I'm done with my whole homework assignment. Okay? So if you still have questions or need help, please come let me know.